Okay, so the topic for now is, in a way, completely different. It's talking about love and relationships, and the title is challenging: Love, the Ideal versus Reality. Unfortunately, there is a gap between what we expected and what we actually get. I mean, talking in general. Love is something that's very essential to every human being. Every child, in order to grow up healthy, should have love in both ways. Should be loved and be able to love others. When we talk about love within, marriage or between man and a lady, in order to understand, we have to understand where it's coming from and what is the essence of being a human being. So in brief, because we really have short time, just show you a few sources, few things. When Hashem created Adam, it says that he was created in the image of God. B'tselem Elokim bara oto, zachar u'nekeva bara oto. I assume that you know the first few chapters of Sefer Bereshit, of Genesis, and it seems like a contradiction between the second chapter to the third chapter. In the first chapter, and this is from the first chapter, it says that when God created Adam, he created him male and a female, zachar u'nekeva. But then when you go to the next chapter, it says that actually in the beginning he created only Adam. And then he separated the Chava from him. Remember the story? So you have to know it's not a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. Why? Because you have to understand how the Bible, the Torah, is written. The Torah is written, the best example that I could give is Windows. Windows. When you open the first desktop, you'll see many icons. But in general, there are titles in the icons. Then you zoom in one, then you got it in details. So the first chapter is the desktop. It just gives you in the titles. Then you go to the details, and the details are more complicated, and there are steps. Now, you have to remember that Adam was created in the sixth day of the creation. Before Adam, the animals were created. And the third day, the fish and the birds. And in the Friday, the sixth day in the morning, it was the animals and then Adam. All of the animals in the world are a male and a female. So there is a precedent to this. And here comes the decision to make Adam. And Hashem says, I want to create Adam. And he created him, not a male and a female. And after he put together the body and the soul, he looked at him and he said, not good. Lo tov heyot Adam levado. I must have him also a male and a female. The question is, why now? I mean, why not in the first place? The precedent shows that everything was male and female, and here it was on purpose. And then, if that was on purpose, what makes God to change his mind? Right? This is a question that we must raise in order to understand the real relationship between male and female. Okay, I will not be able to cover even part of this lecture because it's really a lot of information. I'm trying to think what I could cut. I don't see that I could cut anything. So I will go, the time will give us whatever it will give us, we'll see. Okay, let's go back now to the creation of Adam. Adam was created in a very, very unusual way, and this is the description in the Torah. Vayitzer Hashem Elokim et ha'adam afar min ha'adama. Hashem created the body of Adam, dust from earth, and then he put into it a soul. Vayipach be'apav nishmat chayim. And this is very unique, very exclusive. Only human being, you have to know that. Only human being has a soul. I'm sorry if you have a dog or a cat and you think they have a soul. Sorry to update you, not according to Judaism. Judaism, I mean, of course, it's a living creature, But soul is something different. Soul is something big. It's a spiritual entity that only human being has. Every human being, Jew or non-Jew, have a soul. Body and soul. Now, this combination of body and the soul is not natural combination. Actually, it's just the opposite. I always say that the worst shidduch in the world was the shidduch between the body and the soul. Why? They're supposed to be partners, but they are not. Everything that interested the body, everything is not interested in the soul at all, and vice versa. Hashem created those two and combined them together and made out of it Adam. And in a way, it caused us the biggest problem. And he gave psychologists and psychiatrists the best job. Whatever you do, one part of you will not be happy. You take the body, make it the center, give it whatever you want, the soul will be very sad because it's not interested. You'll be so spiritual, just neglect the body will be sad. So what we're going to do? I mean, we are torn between those two parts of us, and we are not this or this. We are the combination of both. So it's a decree that you will never be happy in your life. The art of life, the question is why God did this. And we have to understand that the art of life is to realize that you have a body and a soul. Realize that they are contradict each other. And the art is to try to make a harmony between them. Anyone who will succeed to do that will have a good life. Anyone who will fail will not be happy. There's no way to do it because it's too complicated. The body by itself, you know, the science of understanding biologically how the body functions is always updated. We know everyday things that we never knew in the past about the body. Imagine the soul. The soul, no one has any laboratories or any way to understand. And it's more complicated than the body. And now, put those two together. There's no way by chance to maneuver and manage them just in the right way. You need instructions. And God gave us instructions. The instructions is the Torah. This is the meaning of the word Torah. Torah is like Mora. You know what Mora is? Toreli et haderech. Show me the way. Teach me. Teach me. This is Torah. The Torah is the only way to understand the needs of the body, the needs of the soul, and make them works in harmony. Without Torah, you could live pretty good physical life. But you have a neshama, and the neshama will be miserable. In the world, people understood this. I mean, smart people in the world, in the general world, they understood that we have a physical side, we have a spiritual dimension, and they are contradict each other. Because they do not know how to make a harmony, let me tell you the solutions. It's the West versus the East. In the East, who is considered a very respected and live his life, their life, right? The one who is spiritual, so spiritual that they realize that physical is the enemy of the spirituality, so let's push it down. So who is the highest person over there in the East? The one who goes away to the mountains, disconnect themselves from the world, you know, eats very minimum, and being spiritual. Because they realize that there is a contradiction. So if you have a chariot, and you have two horses. If you have two horses, the chariot could go on. But imagine there's no two horses going to different directions. This horse goes here, this one, you're stuck. But you want to move. And you understand the problem. You know what you do? Shoot one. Kill it. Then you have only one. You go. So in the East, that's what they did. In the West, they did the same thing, just the opposite. Spirituality out, come on, have fun. Physical is the main thing, that's it. And they're both wrong. They're both wrong. The Torah taught us how to relate to our physical, to our spiritual, in harmony. The two horses going this way, you know what you have to do instead of shooting them? Make them go like that, together. Make them go into the same direction. But it will be not easy because they refuse, especially the physical one. He's stubborn, you want to go this way. So you have to work, and this is the job of work. This is how do you develop your personality. First of all, to realize that you have two sides. Many people do not know that. Most of the people of the world do not know that they have a soul. And even those who heard that there is such a thing, they have no clue what is it and how to manage it. So we are lucky that we got the instruction from the Creator of the body and the soul and gave us the instructions. This combination by itself is problematic. As I said, body and the soul are two different opposite things. But that was the first creation of Adam, body and a soul. Then Hashem looked at this and said, not good. Lo tov heyot Adam levado. It's not good. It doesn't mention what's not good about it. But it's still not good. But to the problem that not explained, there is a solution. What will make the not good good? If I make him a helper according to him. How is it will make it? In a way, it just makes it even worse. Why? Because right now you have two opposite entities, body and a soul. If you divide them, you'll create another body and a soul. Different body, and the body is different between the male and the female. Let's say even the soul is the same, which could be. But what did you do over here? Instead of making harmony between the body and the soul, two parts, two components, now you have to make a harmony between four components. His body, her body, his soul, her soul. And that will make it good? The thing is, yes. The question is, what is the purpose of the creation? What is the purpose of creating Adam? And the answer for this is the following. Adam is exclusive. All other elements that God created are actually robots. Everyone heard about the laws of nature. The laws of nature actually is a program. And every element in the universe obligated to the laws of nature, meaning they pre-programmed. They have no free will, no personality. They obligated to do what the laws of nature do. Obligated make them do. The only exception is a human being. The human being is the only free willer in the entire universe. The reason for that is exactly the combination between the body and the soul. Because you have to understand, the body is material, and material is obligated to the physical laws of nature. The soul is spiritual. The spiritual entity obligated to the spiritual laws of nature. So we're talking about two kinds of robots. But this by itself, the body is a robot, and this by itself, the soul is a robot, a spiritual robot. The combination make the connection, the point that connect those two is the human being. Who am I? I'm not my body, and I'm not my soul. I'm the connection between the body and the soul. And here comes the ability of free will. Because, let me give you a practical example. Because I have a body, I need to eat sometimes. Okay, so let's say I'm hungry, and I have food next to me, and I'm eating. Every animal do that. Same thing. So the interest of the body, or the operation system of the body, you're hungry, you have food, eat. Okay? If you eat, you didn't do anything by your free will. You do not need free will. You need an instinct for this. Every animal do the same. Where's the free will? Let's say I have food, but it's not kosher. Or it's not mine. In order to have it, I have to steal it. The body has no problem with this. The body is material. A hungry lion see a lamb, he doesn't have a moral problems to kill it. You know, let's see, this lamb is a mother of 7 little lambs. So you think, you know what? How selfish you are. You're going to have a good meal now, but you know what the psychological damage you will make to the children? They will raise up without a mommy. No lion has this kind of considerations. So if you eat whatever you available, you didn't do a human act. You do an instinctive act that any animal do. Where's the problem? When you have values. Values are not part of your body. It's part of your neshama, right? And the value said, listen, you're hungry, right, but it's not yours. You're going to be stealer because of this. If you're really hungry, say, yeah, well, what can I do? I'm hungry. But if you're in a borderline and say, you know what, let me wait until I get home. I have my own food. I will not be a stealer. Who's talking? Where's the... You see, there is a fight over here between the body and the soul. The soul wants to do what's right. We sang this in the praying every morning. Elokai neshama shenatata bi tehorai. The soul that you gave, that you put in me, is pure. In us, there is an entity who wants to do what's right. This is the soul. The body do not care about right and wrong. The body, you know, as an animal, you do what you need. There's no calculation. You need, you eat. That's it. This is an example. So, when you have this conflict between the body and the soul, who made the decision? The I. Me. And here's the human being. He is the non-robot between the two robots. The fact that I could decide which robots will take over, this is the free will. And the decision is completely free. And this is the meaning of free will. No other force, not God, not anyone, forced me to decide only my own will. And here I could build myself. This way or that way. So it was on purpose that God put these two combinations in order to create a creature who will be able to create himself. That's the purpose. When God created us in the image of God, the image of God means that the same way He is a creator, He created us as creators. And what we should create? Ourselves. Okay. Now, in order to create ourselves, Hashem created us in a way that we have room for work. Therefore, He didn't create us perfect. He created us imperfect in order for us to make ourselves perfect. So, human being is, by definition, is not perfect. Because if not, we have nothing to do. Now, God puts us together, put the body and the soul together, and He look at it and say, not good enough. Let's make it even less perfect. Let's divide the body to two parts, that each one will need the other. And the souls also, to two souls. And now, the job will be to make harmony between the four components. And this is the job of life. And here it comes to the principle. This is the principle. With this, I will start the lecture about love. In the entire world, especially in the Western world, a male and a female are 1 plus 1. And that's the cause of all the problems. In Judaism, male and female are not 1 plus 1, but half plus half. If I'm 1, everyone is in competition with me. If I'm half, I know that I need the other half in order to be perfect. So this is the base that from it comes a lot of implications. Therefore, God created us in the beginning 1, and He separates us, and it says, "Vayapel Hashem Elokim tardima al Adam," and He took the side and created to a female, to a woman. Look at here. After He did this, so He took one thing and separated. Not in order to stay separated, but in order to be rejoined. But instead of Him doing it, built-in, He let us do it as part of our job to perfect ourselves. Alken, this is, oh no, this is not, okay, it's in the, He created the male and female. Okay, no, it's not here. Okay.
You had it too. It's in the last of the big long paragraph, the last paragraph.
Oh yeah.
Therefore, man.
Therefore, yeah, thank you. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother and cling to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Meaning, the separation is not separation in order to stay separated, but in order to rejoin, but they should do the job. They should do the job. It's part of our mission to build ourselves. In order to do that, you have to understand that you have. If you think that you're whole, you don't need any. You're perfect. And this is what made the confusion today. According to the Torah, you have to know, and this is mentioned in the Kabbalah sources, that anyone who's not married, don't feel offended if you're not. It's temporary. You will, B'ezrat Hashem, very soon, if you want. In the Kabbalah it says, anyone who is not married, a male or a female, consider us a half entity. They're not a whole, full human beings. You cannot be a full human beings without being married. I know it's not popular in the Western society today, it's not politically correct, but we are here to say the truth, not the politically correct. God created us in the way that we should be married. The fact that we are not perfect is in three realms. Physical, psychological, or I don't know how to say it exactly in English, nafshi, and spiritually, which is the neshama. There are three things.
Emotional?
It's not. It's part of it, but it's not it. I mean, maybe I'll explain. I'll explain the implications of this. Then this will be more clear.
Nefesh animal soul?
What is this?
Nefesh is animal soul?
No. It's a little bit complicated to explain this. In a way, you just divide the person into two parts: body and a soul. In Hebrew, it's called guf v'neshama. But the combination between the body and the soul create a whole realm of thing. This is called nafshi, nefesh. In the nefesh, we have two things. In the human nefesh, we have one thing. Okay, this is the power of life, the life, the fact that the material is alive, and this is also in animals. The other thing is kochot nefesh. Kochot nefesh are the psychological implication of the body. And this is what psychology tried to deal without success. To understand the motivations. Now, because of most psychologists do not believe in the soul. And even if they do, they have no clue what is it. So they are just like blinds, they do not know exactly. from the Torah, we know that the fact that neshama, the spiritual entity, the connection with the body, influence or make the body do things that connected, or the explanation will be only if you understand the spiritual connection to it. And this is the psychology, the real psychology. So, when you take these two halves, the male and the female, they have those three levels in both of them. They are imperfect in all three. The obvious thing is the physical needs. There are physical needs for the male, physical needs for the female, and they could be complete together. That's the physical. Aside from the physical, there is a psychological, if we relate to nafshi in this, it's bigger than that, but let's say, and the spiritual, of course. Al ken ya'azov ish et aviv ve'et imo v'hayu lebasar echad mim, they will be one. It means in the three levels. Now, because of the Western society demand for the politically correct and all other twisted stuff, to consider each one as a complete entity by themselves, comes from it. You know what? Who said that we need to get married? And they give substitutions, let's say, to the physical needs. And it could work. That will be a substitution to marriage, to the needs of marriage, physical needs, by substitutions. What they could not do, to give substitution to the psychological, and for sure to the spiritual.
What Hebrew word are you using for the spiritual?
Ruchani.
Chotam?
Ruchani. Yes, ruchani v'nafshi. In these terms, I mean, those words are very mixed up because it's always with the context. Sometimes it gets completely different meaning. But ruchani is the neshama, souls is the psychological needs, and chomri is the physical. So you could find relatively easily today substitution to the physical needs. You will never find real substitution to the emotional, and for sure not for the spiritual. And therefore, the Western society creating a twisted people that are not happy with all the substitution, because the emotional, the psychological have no solutions. So and for sure the spiritual. So according to the Torah, in order to be a complete person, you must have a good marriage relationships. And this is part of your mission, because every human being born with a lot of shortcomings, and they are there for a reason, in order for us to eliminate them and build ourselves. No one is perfect in a purpose. You know, perfect people have no room in this world. If you're perfect, you're going, you're living. If you're here, it means that you have what to do. You still have what to do. So, let's talk about one aspect. Until you get married, you could live with your shortcomings and could run away from the urging to fix them. You know, everyone has good stuff and shortcomings, everyone. When we present ourselves to the society, for sure, we want people to see our business card in the right way. So we're taking our good attributes and say we are this and this and this in order to be in favor in the eyes of the people around us. What we're doing with our shortcomings, try to hide them. And we could do it very successfully in our society. So successfully that we are not just hiding them from the others, but from ourselves. So we look at ourselves in totally twisted way, twisted eyes, not seeing the reality, and could convince ourselves that we are good, even when we have what to do, but we are lazy, therefore we're ignoring it. you could live with this successfully for a long time until you get married. When you got married, there's no way to hide it anymore. There's with you someone who with the time will know you upside down. You could not hide it. So there is no other way but to start working it. Because if not, you could live with it until 120. So marriage actually is a challenge. It's force you to fix yourselves. Force you. And if you try not to, it's just a matter of time that this marriage will be broken. You know, this idea, this is who I am, accept me the way I am. Okay, as long as there will be interest, it will work. But the minute one of the partners will find less challenging person to share life with, they will go. If you really committed to your marriage, you really committed to start to work on yourself and perfect yourself. And this is actually the real thing. And this is the real love. Love is not taking, but giving. And you have to invest. And the more you invest, you more love. You more in connection to the thing. You know, let's say I want a desk. So I could go to the store to buy a desk. Good desk. But if I have some talent and I want to build my desk myself, it will be a lot of work, but I'll do it. And I'll put a lot of effort in this desk and I build it. At the end, the result will not be the perfect desk, but I love this desk. You know why? Because I made it. Why I love it? Because my talent involved in it. Meaning, when I love my desk, I love myself. I love my things that in it. And this is the secret of love. People are selfish. People love only themselves. So how they could love others if they invest in them? If you invest in someone, you love your investment that in them. So the more you give, the more you love. And this is the job. That's why Hashem created this in this world. To be investors, to extend our ego. To extend, and the more you give, the more you put in others, you're more connected to them, you more love them. This is the job of being a human being. It's hard to do it, but this is the purpose of all the mitzvos. Mitzvos are not just, ceremonies. I hate this word related to mitzvos, ceremonies. Ceremony is so artificial, so outside. You have to do the ceremony. Mitzvahs, be aware of the following. You are not doing mitzvahs. The mitzvahs making you. What is mitzvahs? Mitzvahs actually in Hebrew, if you take, you could write this in Hebrew with 5 letters. Mem, Tzadik, Vav, Vav, Taf. Mitzvot, right? If you separate the first letter from the rest of the word, the mem, you'll get the word tzevet. Tzevet is a team. Tzavta, tzevet. And because they have double T, double vav, you have 2 teams. The first team is the body and the soul. You cannot do a mitzvah only with the body or only with the soul. You need both. The other team is the commander and me. God and me. This is the other team. So in both teams, what do? You connected the physical to the spiritual. And here you're creating something. Because they are not natural partners, but you can make them. And here you build yourself. You build yourself. So forget about making mitzvahs. You're not making mitzvahs. The mitzvahs making you. Making you. And the same way, when you have a spouse, real love is to realize that I have a spiritual side and she has a spiritual side. And the real connection is not between the bodies, but between the souls. Of course, will be also connection between the bodies, and it's okay. question is what the base. A body, because it's material, the material do not know how to give, only how to get. Because by definition, the material is limited and is lax. So the relationship between any material and the rest of the world is taking, because I'm constantly missing. So this world is actually a big supermarket that I could take from the shelves anything that I need. But the relationship between me and the world from the physical point of view is taking. Giving could happen only from the soul, because the soul is not limited. So it could give true giving. You know, some people made a mistake over here that from the physical point of view, you could sometimes give also. It's not true. The body will never give. Any material will never give. If you will give, it's only in order to get. But if this is your condition, you are not a giver, you are a sophisticated taker. I will give less in order to get more. And if not, I'm not stupid to do it, meaning I'm declaring I'm so selfish. I'm in the center, everything has to serve me. I will be willing to do business. I'll give you in order you to give me. But the bottom line is to take. Who could give? Pure giving. Pure giving meaning without any intention to get. I don't want you to give me back. You know why? Because I'm rich. I don't need you. Take whatever you want. Who could do that? Only a rich entity. The only rich entity between those two is the soul. So when people talk about love is giving, it's not taking. So love could be only in the spiritual dimension. The physical do not know how to give, only to get. But because a human being is a combination of body and the soul, if the base of the relationship is in the spiritual, it's okay that to get also. Don't feel guilty if you get. It's okay. It's a physical need. You need to get them, but the question is, what is the base? True love is the connection between the souls. And this is the job, and that's why Hashem created us. And He created us on purpose, imperfect, in order for us to create ourselves. I don't think I could do more than that now. But this is just the introduction to the beginning of this big topic called love. But that's what the time allow us to do. Thank you for listening. And take it for something to digest in the next few months until our next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, Rabbi Kalazan, for coming out and